how to start this video. This is a video I've been meaning to film since I put out the stroke at 20 video, but I've been putting it off for a little bit. I'm gonna kind of chat about the video. If you haven't seen that video, I'm not really gonna go into much detail about how it happened, but if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link in the description down below, or it'll be a link at the end of this video. So if you don't know what happened, my boyfriend Sam had a stroke March the 5th this year. He's 20 years old and he doesn't like do anything bad. He lives such a healthy lifestyle. Like, he was at the gym, he doesn't take drugs or smoke or excessively drink or anything. It's yeah, it was really out of the blue. So the day it happened, we drove in and we were just talking about coursework and about finishing this year and everything. He went to the gym while I went to dance, so he came with me to Cardiff. So I was in dance and I was just doing a new part of the routine, having a bit of fun. And someone came in and asking if Anna Robinson's in here, and I was like, yeah, you know, that's me. And everyone's like, oh, you know, getting in trouble. I had no idea what it could be, and I went outside and the guy was from the gym and he said to me, is your boyfriend Samuel Coles? I was like, oh yeah, okay. You know, he's gonna hurt himself. He's complaining about his knee the whole afternoon. It's gonna be his knee, it's gonna be fine. And he said that Sam seems to have gotten suddenly dizzy and lost control of the left side of his body. And immediately I thought, you know, he's had a stroke, but it was completely like, no, he couldn't have had a stroke. Like, that doesn't happen. And I went downstairs and I went in to see Sam, and our housemate was there and a few like the security people and the gym people were there with him in the gym. And I saw him and I was there for about 5 seconds and I said, sorry, I have to go call my parents, like straight away. And I told them what happened. They were, I guess, in the same state as me, like that sounds like a stroke, it can't be a stroke kind of thing. So my parents said, you know, we'll get there as soon as possible. And I went back in and apparently they'd called the ambulance like 25 minutes before I even got there. This happened at like 8:15 and this was now more nearing 9 o'clock. And we knew that the faster you can act on a stroke, obviously the better it would be. So I ran to get my car, like proper like sprinted around the corner like to the other streets, sprinting and just a bit in shock. But I kept saying, no, it'll be, I kept telling Sam like, oh, it must be just like a trapped nerve or something, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna be fine. And he like had spilt water down him and he was just looking at me like completely not there. And he was just out of it, and he just kept telling me that he was really scared. And that's all he kept saying. So I got my car anyway, I drove it round. A guy from the gym and my housemate came with me. They got in the car and I tried really to keep my cool as I was driving there. And I dropped them outside A&E and had to go and park, and I was by myself, and it was, I went up the wrong part of the hospital and then started panicking, had to reverse down and trying to find a parking space. And then I think it started to hit me like, this is a panic, this is a big thing that's happening now. So then I went into the A&E and my parents were there almost immediately, and Sam still hadn't been seen. And my dad's a doctor, so he took one look at Sam and literally said people with fantastic wires, and he'd been seen. So he got seen really quickly then. They went to the office and they kind of took his blood pressure and everything, and then took him off to the other rooms. They started doing tests, taking blood, and then he got taken off for his CT angiogram, I think. And I lost them at this point. So he went with my dad, because Sam's parents live in Berkshire, they live in Ascot, so it was taking them like 3 hours to get here. I had to speak to Sam's mum on the phone as well and like tell her what was happening, and it was just all kind of a blur. My mum had called all my family and I was just kind of still in denial that anything was happening. And I went to the toilet while my dad and Sam were still in the other room, and when I came back he was gone, and I asked the nurses where he'd gone, and one of them said, oh, what, the boy that like whispered to the other one. And then obviously that made me like really panic because I didn't know what they were saying, and obviously they were saying the boy's had a stroke, but I didn't believe it. All my family started arriving, like my sister, my brother-in-law, my brother and his girlfriend started arriving. It was like 11 o'clock at this point. Sam had been seen by a few people. I think by this point it was confirmed that he'd had a stroke. And it was really scary. Every person that kept arriving like kept being a bit choked up and making me want to cry, but I couldn't cry. I kept being like and nothing would come out. I like couldn't cry. I was in complete shock. And then he got taken up to the stroke ward. They took him down to the intensive care, and it was just all just didn't really know what was happening. And I was waiting. His parents arrived. I was waiting for his parents. And it was about 1 or 2 in the morning at this point, and they had to explain to us like the procedure, the emergency surgery that they'd have to do in the middle of the night if anything happened, because he wasn't stable. So they had to tell us beforehand, before we went home, what might happen, which obviously was really scary to think about what could happen. Yeah. I got home about 4 in the morning, and I tried going up to my room, and I couldn't go to my room because like Sam's clothes, where he just got changed before he went, were just like on the floor, and it made me realise like you didn't know what was going to happen before it happened. And going back to like the place we were before it happened, I just couldn't do it. So I tried sleeping downstairs on the settee with my dog, and I couldn't sleep, and I tried crying and I couldn't cry. I didn't get to sleep till about 8 in the morning, and then I woke up at 10 and I was just ready to go back to the hospital. Anyway, fast forward, Sam got through the night, it was okay. Over the next couple of days, like nothing mattered but going to see Sam, making him better. When I saw him, it wasn't like normal, he had these intense headaches and he felt really shit and he couldn't eat anything, or it was really bad. All I was doing was like reading to him and patting a wet flannel like on his neck and his head. I wasn't eating for the first week Sam was in intensive care. That's not like me at all. I stress eat normally. I was just completely out of it. I wasn't eating. One day I remember I ate like 9 of Sam's after eights he'd been given as a present. I ate like 9 after eights and a Reese's cup. And I don't think I ate anything else all day. I wasn't with it. I was just getting through, you know? And each day seemed to take forever. And you know, you think all these thoughts about like, will it ever be normal again? And like, yeah, the second week he was in there, I had an even worse time because I started having to correspond with uni to tell them what happened and try and, because we were meant to have deadlines in for that week, so it was dealing with the stress of that. I wasn't like speaking to anyone from uni. I just kept having loads of messages from people who have started to find out saying I hope I was okay and everything, and then I had to start telling people what happened, relaying that over and over again, and it all just became a bit of a blur. And I had to go to cheer and dance again because I had a competition the next week, and I was just exhausted. I was just physically and mentally exhausted. Obviously throughout all this it's much worse for Sam, so I can't really say, you know, that like I had a really hard time, but it does really affect friends and family. I know Sam was really concerned about that. I didn't want it to affect me like it did, but you know, you can't help it. And I really tried. I didn't cry in front of Sam until like the second, like later in the second week he was in there, and that was because I had the worst day ever and I couldn't take it anymore. Like him being in there just felt, it was just, I don't know, I think it all just finally hit me. And then I think one of the hardest parts is when he actually came out of hospital, because I was so excited and I kept thinking that life would go back to normal, and then it was like the first day he was out I had to help him have a bath, and kept having naps and he kept having headaches and he couldn't do anything. I ended up like not leaving the house for a few days at a time because he couldn't go anywhere, but then I've got through that. It's been difficult since, but I'm so glad he's been making massive progress, and now it's like almost back to normal. We're still hoping to go on holiday this summer, and he's been amazing. He's been absolutely incredible. I say to everyone, if I was in his position, I don't think I would have done half as well as he did, because he's just been so positive. Sorry the rain's getting really loud. Sorry. I'll just wrap this up quickly. But he's been so positive and he's been amazing. You know, he's really got through it and he's really pushed, and all of the things he can do now, and he's helped me, and I'm now sitting my uni exams. I've got an exam on Monday, which has been like ridiculous trying to get through that, but he's really helping me through it, and he's so positive, and I'm just glad where he is now. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.